back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be going through my own All-Australian team for 2024. I've never actually done this video before, so if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a comment down below and also leave a like on the video so I can do this for future years as well. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to drop a sub before we do get into it, and without further ado, we'll get straight into it. So the All-Australian squad, year in and out, is, well, somewhat controversial for most people. It's a pretty harsh selection, so, you know, some absolute guns might miss out on the team, and that's what I feel like might have happened with my team selection here as well. I feel like some absolute guns have been left out of the team, but like, it is just absolutely stacked with talent. It is so hard to fit people in. So we're going to be starting with my midfield. So in the mid, I have selected Marcus Bontempelli from the Bulldogs, as he has had possibly the best year he's ever had. He's one of, if not the best player in the competition at the moment, and he could definitely be on the way to be winning his first Brownlow in a few weeks' time. Joining him in the midfield is also Nick Daicos and Patrick Cripps. Cripps had a bit of a slow start to the season and picked up form really well, and has been definitely another Brownlow favourite. And Nick Daicos, also another Brownlow favourite. He's just a gun. Consistency is through the roof. Apart from that little off period where the Pies had, he wasn't too great, but personal performances, he's been pretty well. Definitely deserved a selection in the midfield. And obviously with three mids, we do need a ruckman, so I've selected Tristan Cherry from North Melbourne. What a year he's had. I've never even heard of the bloke at the start of the year. You said that name to me and I wouldn't have any idea who he is, and he's just come into the north side and absolutely dominated the ruck. And also, he's just so good around the ground as well. Like, he's actually pretty fast. He has got some run-down tackles this season. He's also pretty good picking up the pill as well. He's just an all-round really good player, and I feel like he was a bit of a stint not to get selected in the actual All-Australian team, which is why I've had to include him in mine here today. So that's my central midfielders done. We'll move on to the outside mids in the wing. So my wingers, I've selected Errol Gulden from the Swans and also Massimo D'Ambrosio from the Hawks. I mean, where do I start with Gulden? He has just had an impact in every single game that the Swans have played this year, and he's just an absolute jet. You can pretty much chuck him anywhere. You can chuck him in the guts, you can chuck him on the wing, even half back potentially, and he just does his job. And D'Ambrosio, obviously a little bit stiff to not get picked in the actual All-Australian team, which is why I've had to select him in my own. He's had an absolute breakout year, and obviously last year at the Bombers, he just didn't really have an impact at all, and he got traded to the Hawks in first year in new colours, and he's just an absolute gun. Fits into the team perfectly, and definitely one of the best wingers in the competition. So now with the midfield done, we're going to be moving on to the forward line. Our full forward, I have selected Jesse Hogan, obviously taking home the Coleman medal, and is just in the best form he's ever been in. Obviously things didn't work out for him at Melbourne or Freo. Now he's really found his mojo and rhythm at the Giants, and he's easily just the best full forward in the competition. There's no second guessing that. He's definitely the best forward in the comp, and chuck him a full forward and he's an absolute beast. Joining him in that forward line as well in the pockets, we have got Dylan Moore from the Hawks and also his teammate in Brent Daniels from the Giants. Daniels didn't really have an impact in the first half of the season, but then he finished off the season so strong. One of the best players in the competition in this second half of the season, and he's in such good form at the moment. It was so hard not to pick him. He's pulling up crazy numbers, and he's genuinely just pulling the Giants over the line in some results. And I mean, Dylan Moore has had a pretty consistent year as well. With a really consistent, you know, back end of the year for the Hawks, I think Moore's fit in really well, and he's definitely proven himself to be one of the best players. Moving up to the half forward line, we've got Jeremy Cameron at centre half forward. We've got Chad Warner at the forward flank and also Isaac Heaney. So we have the Swans duo, Heaney and Warner on both flanks. And then Jeremy Cameron, he's just consistent week in and out. Every week he just does his job. He's kicked some absolute handfuls this year. And mate, no one is denying that they do not want Jeremy Cameron in their side. I haven't met someone who dislikes Jeremy Cameron. He's just an all-round good bloke and even just a better footy player as well. I mean, Heaney was a Brownlow favourite until he got suspended, obviously. And same boat for Warner as well. Warner was really in a Brownlow contention until he just dropped off a little bit as well when the Swans went into that little bit of bad patch of form. But nonetheless, Warner all year round has just been an absolute gun, and so has Heaney. So with our mids and forwards done, we're going to head on to our back line. And at full back, it's hard not to pick Jacob Weitering from the Blues. He obviously got selected as the fullback in the actual All-Australian team, and well, why not? He's an absolute gun down back. He's been put up in selection for All-Australian in 2020, 2021, 22, and also 23, but he's never actually been able to make the final team. So the consistency obviously has shown that in the past 5 seasons, that he's just been an absolute rock down back, and it's so hard not to pick him. Joining him in that line of defense in the back pockets is Luke Ryan and also James Sicily. Sicily, obviously being the Hawks skipper, has really stepped up in some really important games for the Hawks this season, and Ryan for the Dockers as well has definitely been their best defender. Ryan's been pretty consistent before. He obviously did make the All-Australian team in 2020, and he also got selected last season for an All-Australian award as well, but wasn't able to make the final cut. Sicily was All-Australian last year, but he's also been selected in 2019 and 2022. Moving on to our half-back line, we've got Jeremy McGovern at centre-half-back, which is where he was actually put in the actual All-Australian team as well. And then on the flanks, I have Nick Blakey, because his run off half-back is just electric. He's got to be one of the fastest blokes in the competition. And joining him on the other flank is Bailey Dale, which I thought was really stiff not to actually make the All-Australian team this season. Dale has just put up crazy numbers week in and out. His consistency is just second to none. His run that he can provide off that half-back line as well is just incredible. And you add that just to his footy IQ and ability, he's just an absolute gun there. So I thought it was really, really stiff that Bailey Dale wasn't selected in the actual All-Australian squad. So that's our starting 18 team. Now we obviously need 4 on the bench to complete the 22-man squad. So on the interchange bench, I have Zach Merritt, which, what do I even say about Zach Merritt? He's been by far the Bombers' best player in Brownlow talks still. Obviously not the season that they wanted for the Bombers, but for the first 20 weeks of the season, Merritt just performed week in and out, and he was putting the Bombers on his back. So stiff that he didn't make the actual All-Australian team, as he's definitely one of the best midfielders in the competition. Also on the bench, we have Lachie Neale, who once again is also another Brownlow favourite. He has been able to make it to 3 All-Australian selections in the past, in 2019, 2020, and also 2022, with another absolute ripping season for Lachie Neale. It's just, you literally can't leave him out. And the last 2 players on the bench are Zach Butters from the Power and also Caleb Serong from the Dockers. 2 absolute bulls in the midfield, and they play a very, very similar brand of footy. Serong has been so consistent all year. Could definitely also be a smoky in the Brownlow. And Zach Butters as well, just an absolute machine. That's going to be my All-Australian selection for 2024. If you guys did enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with your All-Australian team. Let's see how mine does compare to your opinion. Anyway guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.